So Vince, I want to talk to you about the idea of MLOs becoming real estate agents and real estate agents becoming MLOs so they can do both. What are your feelings about this?
I think it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
I don't have any problem.
We automatically know that that's going to be it's a bad idea. If Vince thinks it's brilliant, like trigger leads.
Right. Okay.
No, please. Let's hear you impart your wisdom about why it's a good idea to
Look, we know for years the rules were you couldn't do both, and then
for FHA.
they changed under FHA, I think last year or early last year, and I don't see really any problem with this. I think the biggest issue is just, have you disclosed to the buyer that, or the client,
Sure.
that you are both. If you are, why is that an issue? The only issue really is going to be is the buyer thinking they have to use you in order to get the mortgage, to get a house, or to use you as the agent in order to get the mortgage. As long as that's not tied together and it's clear, then I don't see any problem with that. What would there be?
So, and I think what you're saying in theory, it's, I think some buyers could potentially feel somewhat pressured because you're right here, you're trying to get this home and they bring to you the paperwork for your mortgage. There's some pressure there, but let's just put aside actually that, what about stay in your lane? Like be focused on.
What do you have to stay in your lane?
Because be good at what you're going to be good at. Be 100%.
Oh, Andrew,
at one thing.
So what you're saying here is that everybody who thinks they can be both is going to be terrible at being both, or terrible, good at one, terrible at another.
Listen, you're saying
I'm not saying that every single agent and MLO ought to be both in a transaction. You asked me, what about ones who want to be both? If they want to be both, if they can do it both well, and they're willing to make sure that there are consumer safeguards in there, then I don't see any problem.
Are you going to do business with one of these dual agents? If you're,
I don't know. I'm not in the market for a house right now.
If you were,
if I were, I might. You know why? Because we've already had dual agency. The real estate agents have been doing this for years, where they represent both sellers and buyers, and they acknowledge it right up front.
That's worked out great, right?
I don't think it's worked out poorly. It's certainly not as poorly as it could. I don't think there's really an issue here. And you've got an example that's working. I would say if I was an LO, I wouldn't like the way it's working, but home builders who are selling their own homes and, of course, doing the financing for it. They are showing a path for how to do this.
I'm talking about the individual originators.
So what? It's all basically along the same lines. The same issues that are there, whether the company is arranging for it or whether it's the individual arranging for it. I don't think that there's a problem here.
I understand, but I guess, something, to your point, why deal with the best? Why don't you deal with someone who's pretty good over here and pretty good over here? You have that option. I'm going to go for, I want the best real estate agent and I want the best mortgage person.
Hey,
when I'm going to sell,
I didn't say you should be obligated to use them if they present themselves as both. I didn't say that. And if you want the best and you don't think the person you're dealing with is the best, then go ahead and go find who you want. The question becomes, most people, you know what they want? They want the convenience. Can you get that done for me? That's perfect. Wonderful. That's why they'll go to a real estate agent. That's why a real estate agent will look at them and say, you can shop around for your mortgage if you're not qualified for this thing already. But if you'd like, I have 3 or 4 people that I deal with, or I have 1 or 2 people, often what happens, that I deal with all the time. I can put you in touch with them if you want. That happens all the time.
Our business is pretty complicated. And especially, listen, if
I'm not saying it's not. You're not suggesting the real estate agent is doing this without having gotten themselves an LO license. They're going to know what they're doing.
Having an LO license,
and if they're if they're not
taught how to do this
at it, they will fail out of here. But you can't use that as the overarching. Shouldn't they do it?
I want a dedicated originator. A dedicated originator.
Then you can go ahead and get one.
And that's who I'm going to recommend.
You're free to go ahead and get whoever you want. But that doesn't mean you should preclude other people from saying that they could do both if they're able to do both.
I never said
and let the consumer
I think it's
do
a bad
this.
idea.
I'm sure you do think it's a bad idea.
I think it's a bad idea.
I'm not suggesting it's necessarily a good idea.
Families go to these dual agents that are okay real estate agents, okay mortgage people, and I'm going to send my family, my friends, my people.
Hey, you got an awful lot. You've got an awful lot of LOs out there right now that are doing business with one wholesaler, right? and they're in that wholesaler's technology environment. Guess what? A realtor who's become an LO can be in that same thing and be just as effective. So that argument is kind of silly. I'm not saying that there aren't best wholesalers out there.
Defending with that model?
I don't think there are. I don't think that there are LOs that are out there that are fantastic. That are fantastic. I'm not saying it's a great model, but I'm saying it's what we've got out there. And a consumer is going to wind up. A lot of consumers are going to wind up with LOs that are there. Why can't that person also be the real estate agent? I don't see the conflict as long as everything is disclosed. You just want to get in there. You're like a big government advocate, is what you are. You want to keep these things.
I didn't say regulations
apart. You want to keep them
there's
different.
No regulations.
I'm not for that. I'm saying let the consumer make their own determination. My personal opinion might not be that I would do both. I might want different people. I don't know. It depends on the person in front of me. If I know them.
This is the guy who believes trigger leads are empowerment of consumers. Okay?
I will take you on in another one of our episodes.
It is on.
I will kick your butt all over this studio.
Valvo,
you
got it. Oh yes,
you're done.
Bring it.
Done for. That's what you are.
Bring it.
For more on these and all of today's top stories, go to nationalmortgageprofessional.com.